Let me set this up. Good morning, my super truckers. Good morning, everyone out there. How are you? All right, guys. As always, we're going to give it a few minutes for people to gather around. However, today's topic is PSP reporting. What's on it? Who's looking? I think this is actually one of the most underrated topics that's out there. All right, guys. So we're just giving an opportunity for people to gather around, and then we can get started. Hey, what's up, Hector? Thank you for joining. Welcome to the Super Trucker Podcast Live. All right. So everybody who's on, hey guys, it's Thursday. So how's everybody doing out there? Put in the comments where are you? Were you getting loaded? Were you getting unloaded this morning? Just kind of curious about that. All right. Klein, Alabama. Here we go. Not too far from Florida. So good spot to be. Here we go. Guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Share this actually with your crew, with fellow truckers. It's good content for them. Don't forget to miss our weekday videos that go on after 5 p.m. They're full of information for owner operator. It's all about improving your business and improving your pay. Remember, Voyager Nation is looking for owner operators. So if you're looking to level up, definitely give us a call. 863-342-5171. All right, guys, we'll give it a few more minutes before we get this party started. And here we go. Just making sure my mic is good. I know yesterday I had a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm not the best IT guy, so that was a problem. All right, Tom, Florida. Nice. Good weather out here, huh? All right, we got Georgia. He's looking to lease a Peterbilt 389 or KW 900 or drive for an owner operator that owns one. For sure. Give us a call. You can give us a call and speak with a recruiter, or actually give me a call directly after the show. It's 863-342-5171. I think I may be able to make something work, but you got to give me a call after that. So I'll put my telephone number there. All right, guys. Mike joined us. Welcome. Again, guys, this is all about good content. That's what we produce, is putting good information in front of good people. Today's topic is going to be PSP. Again, I think it's such an underrated topic. A lot of people don't think about it, but it is important. And so we're putting this out there for first-time owner operators. Man, this is even company drivers getting started into the game. So owner operators, company drivers, this actually affects all of us. Understanding how it works is going to be vital to your business. All right, just give it a few minutes. LRM Trucking, how you doing? How's everything? Actually, I think we didn't get an opportunity to speak. Were you able to, were you able to talk to Andrew? Give me a call after the show if you have any kind of questions about that. 863-342-5171. Remember, Andrew is driving teams. I know they were going to reach out to you looking for a truck. So let me know if there's anything else I could do to help out there, or if it even worked out. What do we have? Mother Duck 21. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the show. All right, guys, we're going to give it a few more minutes for everybody to gather around and we can get this started. Remember, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. Get those questions answered and give you the information that you need. So for all those who are joining, please like, share this with your crew. Make sure you subscribe. Drop the questions in the comments. We'll make sure we get to them. And actually, we do have shows that come on Super Trucker Podcast. They are distributed after 5 p.m. And what you can learn is a lot of content there to help improve your business and level it up. We are looking for owner operators. So if you're looking for a better opportunity, you definitely got to give us a call. 863-342-5171. Okay. What's up, Ray? What's up, Caesar? How you doing? How's everything today? Pete D. What is up? What is up? All right, Klein, you're getting unloaded. There you go, man. All right, good stuff. So you probably do a short hop for tomorrow, maybe a straight through, and then get that weekend load. Make it worth it, right? So hope that works out for sure. I mean, the good part is you're getting unloaded pretty early, so that's good. Hopefully, you're already at the door and they got the doors open. What's up, Charlie? How you doing? Karen, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. All right, my people. So we're gonna get this party started, and here we go. All right. So understanding PSP. Let's start at the top for those who don't know, and if you already do, just kind of bear with the beginning of this, right? So PSP is actually a pre-employment screening program, and it is managed by FMCSA. All right. So and what it does is it compiles a bunch of information about your driving history. So it provides us, or the trucking community and yourself, 5 years of crash data. All right, remember. So when we're talking about crash data, guys, and it's going to be on that PSP, it's not saying that you are at fault. What it is, it's a reportable, right? So what are the top things that make it reportable? It's going to be a tow, ambulance, right, and or fatality, God forbid. So those things are going to make it reportable. So that will be on your report for 5 years, and 3 years for roadside inspection data. So that is what's on this report. All right, it includes violations, out of services, and crashes. Again, that's everything that's going to be privy to who's ever looking at this PSP report. Okay. One of the biggest questions that's out there. So remember, a lot of our information is gathered from comments and from actual experiences. So actually, even this week, we had a situation which I'll jump into in a little bit. But one of the biggest question is this PSP required by law, by DOT standards, and so forth? And it actually is not. It's FMCSA doesn't mandate that we run a PSP report to hire a driver. However, it is good business practices. So I will say that many carriers use this PSP voluntarily. I know we do for sure. That's a definite, and because it's a great pre-screening hiring tool. It helps it helps assess the risk of the individual. Oh, I'm sorry. It helps to assess the risk of the individual because what it does, it's actually showing you the behavior, the patterns of an individual. So the PSP, even though it is not required by law, a lot of recruiting departments, a lot of compliance departments, a lot of safety managers, and so forth would like to use this tool because it tells you everything. It's so factual and it's so accurate that it's in some cases it's probably better than an MVR. I know some people might dispute that, but I think it's going to give you more information. And we'll jump into the difference about reporting on that and an MVR, and the difference between reporting of a uh, of a PSP. Okay, so so this does become a due, we have the due diligence to review the individual and make sure they're safety, they're actually safe out on that road. All right, so do insurance companies look at a PSP? Yes, yes. So there's many ways that this is going to happen and go down. So insurance underwriters are going to review the driver's PSP and assessing risk. So let's say you are getting a out of service, right? So it's going to touch several different ways. Let's say a carrier is going to go through an insurance renewal, right? Not necessarily are they going to say, hey, let me see everybody's PSP report. Maybe that's directly not happening. But what is happening is they want to see driver files, right? And if your PSP is part of the hiring practice, that PSP will be in that DQ file. So boom, you got some visibility to that. Another thing that they know about it and your behavior is because, again, when you're going for renewals and all of that, their insurance companies are going to be looking at a company, at a carrier CSA. Well, guess what is comprised of a CSA? Inspections. And who's getting inspections? All the drivers. And then right there, it's all documented information, VIN numbers, names, driver's license numbers, everything is going to be there. And so remember, these reports are driver's license driven. So that's what drums this. So it is visibility to everyone, but is such a like, a lot of guys don't see this. They think that the MVR is everything. All right. So a poor PSP can lead to higher premiums because of everything I said, right? So if a guy has a poor PSP and all my guys under my flag are getting bad PSPs, that means my CSA is going up. That means premiums are definitely going to be going up. All right. Uh, so yes, a stronger PSP is going to make you more marketable for both insurance, and it's make you more marketable for getting a job as well. So you want to keep an eye on this. Um, you know, can you fight or challenge a PSP warning or violations? That's one of the that's yes, you can. Um, but through PSP directly. So but not through PSP directly. I'm sorry. You have to data queue that. That's really what's going to take that away. And you're going to have evidence and information in order to get that done. So once you challenge that, it's not just your word against the DOT officer's word. Good morning, Sam. How you doing today? How's everything? Biker bro. Hey, what's going on, bro, man? Uh, so you would have to submit a request to get that changed. But once again, you're gonna have to know what's on it in order to get that changed, right? So violations are reported incorrectly sometimes. That is why I do tell all my people, get on there, run your own PSP. It'll run you like $10, but you never know. You never know what's on there. You may have ran teams at some point, and by running teams, maybe that violation got put on you when it shouldn't have. But you want to keep an eye on that. You want to know where you stand. You want to see what other people are looking at. So pay attention to that. You have to protect your business at all costs, right? So once you do argue and you have to go to these data queues, again, you're gonna have to have supporting documentation to do so. You can't just go in there, you know, wanting a change without having the proper documentation. All right. So the question is, how many carriers are actually running the PSP? Pretty much everyone. A lot of guys that I talk to in the business, this is the drumming factor. Everybody's watching. You know, and so is a PSP is this report a career killer? Yes and no. It just depends because remember, you can get this cleaned up eventually. Remember, all kind of violations are going to be on there for 3 years. So that means you got 3 years to improve it. You may fall, I've had people, so in our orientation, what we do is we'll print out that PSP and give it to the individual. At least we're supposed to be doing that. So here we go. And what's going to happen there is a lot of times that's an eye opener. Most guys have never actually put their actual hands on their PSP. Perhaps they've heard about it because it's in good standing. Perhaps it's a shocker, true or not, whatever the case may be. But I would say like 10% of the people have actually had a physical copy in their hand. And what that's going to do right there is it's going to let you know what's there. So if you happen to figure out about let's say you had a warning um, about 2 years ago, so you're just finding out about that warning. So you have 1 more year before it falls off. So it's not the end of the road. You actually got some time to pay attention, make sure that you're having those clean inspections so that eventually when that one falls off, you're protecting your PSP. You're remaining marketable. So it isn't a career killer as long as you're managing it properly. However, man, I have seen PSPs that are 7 pages long, and that is extremely problematic. Because what's happening is that's telling you the behavior of the individual, and it's very difficult to look the other way because now, as a safety member, safety officer of whatever company you're trying to lease onto or get hired with, they can't just look the other way because that is behavior. All right. So, guys, in the comments, has anybody experienced anything with their PSP? Have you gotten denied? Have you challenged anything on there? Please put those in the comments. Perfect platform right now to learn from each other and get that out in the open so others can learn from it as well. Okay. Can drivers clean up their PSP? Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what I was talking about right now. And and it's important to understand. The only way you're going to clean it up is you have to understand what is the difference between the two. So a PSP versus an MVR is important to understand. That's the biggest thing right now. So an MVR shows your driver's license, the CDL. It's going to give you everything, right? It's going to give you when you started driving, what kind of exams you took, and so forth. All the whole transition of that, and it's going to show all the citations, speeding tickets, this, that, the other, in a personal car, and all of that. And yes, for all my people with commercial driver's license, even though the ticket is in your personal car, it will count on your commercial driver's license. So it's all in the same thing, just in case somebody had that question. All right. And what's going to happen is most people, let's say, got a speeding ticket in their truck, right? Even if you get it changed on your motor vehicle record, let's say you lawyer up, get that speeder changed to whatever it has to be, and you win, you should be actually taking those findings, those court findings, and giving that to your safety officer to data queue it. That is not an automatic. These two agencies are not talking to each other. They're not getting that done for you. It is your due diligence to make sure that you get that data queued off. So remember, your motor vehicle record is one thing, and then your PSP is another, and they are not connected. Your PSP is your MVR isn't going to show your roadside inspections. It's not going to show any of that. It's more at that state level. All right. It's not going to show any federal safety violations and so forth. All right. Employers are going to run both, and they're going to compare the two, and that's where a lot of the disconnect is. That's where a lot of guys think that the MVR is the only thing that carriers are looking at, and that's gospel, and then that's it. So there are what we call warnings, where the DOT is now giving you warning, and he's not actually giving you a citation. So what? Here we go. Yes. What about a warning? So here's the problem with warnings, my people. It's You can't data queue a warning. it's going to stay there. So it will not pop on your MVR. But then you're shocked or you're surprised when you're onboarding with someone and they know about that speeder, even though the DOT officer was like, "Hey, don't worry about it. It's just a warning. Please be safe. Keep on going." So so here's your problem. You can't data queue a warning. So you actually want to ask the officer for the violation, because then you can data queue a violation, right? So imagine this. Let's say you get an actual violation for underinflated tires. Boom, and you got lit up on that, right? But you don't think it's fair. The guy gives you a citation for that. All right. So now you can data queue that. Okay. So what would you need to data queue something like that, right? You can't go to the table with, with nothing with no defense, with no evidence, with nothing there. So let's say you're actually using like Tire Pass. You have the Tire Pass program. And just before you got your inspection, you did a tire pass. You ran through there, and you have the printout, and it tells you everything was properly done. Green light, boom. You have some evidence. When you would be going to fight for that and data queue that, that would be what you're submitting. You're saying, okay, I see the officer did that. Those are his findings. However, 15 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, here's the evidence that I have. And now you would compare the two and give that to them for so they could look at it and potentially change that citation. If not, just get rid of it or change it, whatever they feel is necessary. But that would be that, right? That's how you would challenge something like that. In the other situation, if it's a warning, there's no challenging a warning. So a lot of people are getting hit. Where brings me to what happened this week. We have guys that are that are applying and so forth, and then all of a sudden they think an MVR is clean, but a PSP shows multiple speeding violations. And it'll tell you 0 to 5, 10 over, whatever the situation may be. So you'll have those there. Those weigh just as heavy, my people. Like it's the same thing. So that PSP is going to be king, even though it isn't mandated to run. Everybody is looking, so you have to know that. So remember, the art of asking for a violation could get tricky because or a citation rather. I have had people in the past, some of my guys, get tickets or actually ask for a ticket and get denied a ticket because these guys know exactly why we're asking. And I guess they're out there to teach us a lesson or teach that individual a lesson. Again, it's probably about presentation and how you're asking. But I have been in a position where people are like just telling the driver, no, I'm just giving you a warning, and did not give him the violation. So I'd be interested to know that. Anybody in the comments, anybody on the show today, please put in the comments. Have you ever been denied the violation after asking, and he made you drive away with a warning? And I'd be curious to know: am I the only guy, or are there other people out there? So so remember, so now the due diligence, your PSP. I have seen people with 3, 4 speeding tickets and their warnings. So either A, the officer knows exactly what he's doing and he wants you to walk away with a warning so that everybody can view it and know exactly what they're getting. Or B, the guy the driver has the power of gab and talked his way out of a ticket and actually, thinks he's winning that just because he got a ticket rather than actually, and he's actually losing instead of winning because he can't fight that. I mean, he shouldn't be speeding like that anyway, but nevertheless, warning speedings, they're going to weigh just as heavy because they're there and they will be considered. Okay. So has anybody out there ever been denied, the opportunity to work for someone because of your PSP? And what did you do to rectify that? Definitely put that in the comments. Make sure you guys hit the like, share it, share this please with your fellow truckers. Put this in front of them. This good information is going to be valuable for them and their career. And make sure you check out our channel after 5 o'clock. We always drop a video Monday to Friday with stuff just like this that will help improve your business. We are always looking for quality owner operators with good PSPs, and just give us a call, 863-342-5171. Mike says, if it's in writing, it's on your record. And yes, that is absolutely true. And there's no denying that. And it doesn't really matter uh, how hard you try to explain your way out of it to the hiring company, let's say. It's on paper, and whatever that paper says, that's actually what transpired. So if you feel that strongly about whatever situation you might be in, man, you should be data queuing that, get your T's crossed, your dot, your I's dotted, present that, and get that off your record. So that's for sure. All right. So got some questions, definitely ones that I've had in the past, from drivers, and so we'll go through those and we'll share it so that everybody can learn from it. How long the warning stays on your How long does the warning stay on your record? It's 3 years. Any kind of violation, whether it's on the truck or whatever level it is, truck on you, whatever the case may be, 3 years, and any kind of accidents would be 5 years. So that's how long that's going to stay there. Again, here we go again. If it got a if I got a warning but not a ticket, does it show on my PSP? Yes, warnings from inspections will appear even without a citation. So, yep, that will show there, and it will highlight the behavior of the individual. Some companies even score you on a PSP, like to see if you're hireable. Back in the day, it was called Vigilo. I'm sure there's other platforms now and whatnot. So they'll download your PSP into this program. It gives you a score like 1 to 100. The closer you are to 100, you're probably not going to get hired. So you really want that point system at zero. But companies just do that. I'm pretty sure mega carriers are just simply doing that because you're just a number. They're so big in volume that they're just going to plug you in there. If you make the threshold, you do. If you don't, you don't. Okay. How do you get something removed from a PSP if it wasn't your fault? Again, we talked about that. It's going to be directly with FMCSA with the data queue. You will need documentation to support your case. Uh, um, so we got Sam, clean zero PSP versus few violations. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a few violations. Like, it's not the end of the world. We're human out there, right? So it's trucking. Trucking is going to happen. We've all been in situations. This isn't about necessarily looking for just simple perfection, right? This is about assessing the individual as far as what their habits look like. So, for example, kind of going into that. Um, if you're out there, right, and you're driving a truck, it's your responsibility to do that pre-trip. That's what that DOT officer is looking at, right? So even if that's a company truck, and this goes out to my company drivers, no one is forcing you to take that. So even though the violation will read like a vehicle, and just because you don't own it, it doesn't mean that you don't own the problem. Your job is to do the pre-trip. They understand that you drove that truck in that manner, so that will affect you as well. You don't get a hall pass to walk out of that without any kind of accountability. You decided to move that truck in that way. Same thing. So just because you don't own it, now you may own the truck but not the trailer. So the trailer violation isn't yours. No, 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 no. You're supposed to do that pre-trip. You should be checking all of that, and so ultimately, you will hold 3 years of that. Now, the hiring company may actually, just brush it off and say, okay, that's not yours. But nevertheless, like in DOT's eyes, that is, you are responsible for moving that truck. You should have done the pre-trip, even if it was, no tire tread or something like that, whatever the situation is, you are held responsible for that. So it will stay on you for 3 years. And so now you will have to have a conversation about it when you're moving on to a different company. They're going to want to know what transpired, why this happened, why did you make that decision? Why did you think that was a good idea? Why didn't you call someone? Yada, yada, yada. And then the dialogue is going to start. So you're not necessarily disqualified, but I would assume in my situation, based on how our conversation goes, would determine if you're going to not if you are going to get disqualified. Remember, here I'm not disqualifying anybody. Actually, guys are disqualifying themselves based on their answers and their behavior and what they would do, because we are in it together, right? All those violations are going to add up on us as well. So this has to work both ways. All right. Is it all warnings that go on your PSP? No, no. So warnings are you violations. Violations and warnings are both going on your PSP, and also whether it's on the truck, whether it's on the person, any kind of the trailer, any kind of violation is going to go on your PSP. Excuse me. It's really to capture everything that has been going on, whether it's going to be a roadside inspection, scale house, overweight tickets, anything that went on out there will hit your PSP and it will be shown. So if a cop is so nice to give you just a warning, why not verbal? Ask them. Yeah, yeah. Why not give you a verbal? But again, here we go. I think these guys are probably smarter than we think, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they know how to hit, and they know how to hurt you, and then it stings a little bit later on. Okay. Can a PSP help me get a better paying job? Absolutely. Absolutely, because a lot of carriers are going to prioritize safety drivers. It just depends if you're that company driver looking for that specific dedicated lane that they're doing or something like that. I wouldn't recommend it, but if you're into that, you know, um, they will ask for that because of their customers and so forth, and they wouldn't want somebody with a bad record walking into that and pretty much jeopardizing everything for everyone. So they're definitely going to be looking at that. Uh, does the PSP follow me forever? You will have a PSP the entire time you do have a CDL. Again, you want it as clean as possible. But no, it's remember 5 years on the accident and 3 years on any kind of violations. Can I see my own PSP before applying for a company? Yes, you absolutely can. And I recommend this for everyone, man. Everyone who's here and you got commercial driver's license, go check it out. It'll probably be the best $10 you ever spent. Um, Go on directly to fmcsa .dot.gov and pull your PSP. Review it, take a look at it. If it's clean, it's clean. If it's not and something's on there, you now know about it. And now you can actually see how you can, what your approach would be to improve your situation and make yourself more marketable. Whether you're an owner operator, whether you are a company driver, your own authority, all of that good stuff. This is such a valuable tool for your success. So you want to be able to check this out. All right. Remember, PSP has all info, not just bad. Clean is not the same as empty. Here we go. Yeah, yeah. Because the healthiest PSP you want to look at is an individual that has clean inspections. No inspections. My man Mike, that is a good point. No inspections can mean like, hey, like, why isn't this guy getting an inspection? He's either super lucky or maybe there's something off on the work history. Which brings me to another point, like just as a sidebar guy, just guys who are doing applications and omitting and leaving out some of the carriers you worked for. Here's your one free trick of the trade. So on your PSP, even if it was a good, healthy, clean inspection, it will tell you what carrier you were running for, what DOT. So now if you're hiring on to a new carrier and you have a clean inspection, so congratulations, you get a gold star for that, but you didn't put them on your work history, they will ask you about it and you have to add them to your work history. And why is that? Because you were running for them and it's on your PSP. So now those two must match per DOT. I'm not busting your chops. It is not my decision, but your safety file has to be compliant. And that's what will happen next. This is where some people have gone into problems. I know on one of the podcasts, Mike jumped in on this, where let's say you're on the weekend, you're helping your buddy. He's like, man, I just need help delivering this load, and then all of a sudden you help him out, right? And you guys get stopped. And now that even if it's a clean DOT inspection, cool, but now you got a problem because now that's on your record and on that company record. So let's break this down a little bit. We're going to unpack it. So here's how something kind-heartedly, not a bad inspection, but still happened. So now you as a driver hiring, you're going to have to add that to your employment history, but they're going to deny knowing anything about you. Now, also on the other side of that coin, when that carrier is going through insurance renewals, they have a CSA score, right? Your name pops up, your driver's license name pops up. But guess what? They don't have. You're not on their insurance roster. Now they have to say, who is this guy? Can I see his file? Can I see his drug screen? Can I see all of this? And now you're in a world of hurt. So something that seems so innocent actually snowballs into a big problem. And then here you go. Like that's how something can snowball so fast in this business. And I really wanted to mention that because I don't think a lot of people understand that sometimes. I think we try to use logic and we're like, hey man, like it's not even a big deal. Like we're just doing this, and nothing happened. I actually helped his CSA score because it was a clean inspection, so they should be thanking me more than bitching and complaining. But these are the ramifications of what happens beyond that. So you definitely want to be aware of this so that next time you're thinking of doing that, or you're thinking of letting one of your buddies drive your truck real quick under your authority because he's just taking the truck to the shop. What can go wrong? Well, a lot of shit could go wrong. So here you go. Okay. Is running a PSP enough to make a safe hiring decision? Yeah, it's by far one of the better tools that's out there. They do have DAC reporting, but I do think that it should weigh heavy. I think this gives you a big insight into the individual's behavior. So if I'm thinking that, I guarantee you I'm not the only one. Others are looking as well. So guys, you have to understand that, and please keep an eye on your PSP. Uh, will running a PSP what is I say? Will running a PSP on applications help lower the insurance? I mean, not directly, I guess. Like you're not gonna, no one's giving you an insurance, decrease, rate decrease because you're like, hey, I run PSPs. I just think like we talked about the snowball effect. So if you're looking at that, it's in your driver file. They view that, and in general, if you're actually hiring guys with clean PSPs, that's their behavior, then that would translate into you getting that company clean inspections, right? Because an insurance company, we get tested, right? And the test is actually when you're getting inspections, whatever level it may be. But we can't pass the test directly. It has to come from the driver. And so the insurance company understands that, and I truly believe that's how they're looking at it. They're looking at that. Okay, will this guy pass that test for us? Like, that's what I have to understand. And if the guy, has major violations, then no, he is not going to pass that. So he is a risk. So then the premium would be affiliated to that, and so forth. So it's all together, but it's not like a silver bullet to get a rate, to get your insurance to go down. So that's my perspective. Um, can can carriers legally deny a driver based on a poor PSP? Yeah, 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 for sure. As long as those are their hiring practice, and it's the same across the board, and they have that threshold, yeah, that's enough to knock a guy out the box, man. Like, yeah, for sure, because it is going to be visible. All right. Uh, so again, I got a few more comments here to cover. Um, you know, a lot of guys will say like, why is this stuff even on my record? It was the company's fault. So remember, the PSP is going to track the violations tied to that CDL number. So if you were driving and you took responsibility for that, then it is going to be on you regardless. So we talked a little bit about that. It will be on you. So that's where I'm saying, guys, this can get out of control really fast. I have seen where guys are marketable and then they don't become marketable, and their world changes. The industry is different for them. The opportunities for them is different. And so here we go, because you can have a guy, right? Just think about it, man. This is not feelings. You can have a guy actually 20 years in the game, not a problem, clean record. And then all of a sudden he got a speeder. Let's say he got a 25 and over, and it's on the PSP and MVR. Boom, he will be judged as a guy with a 25 and over. That insurance company is not looking at those 30 years. That's not weighing to the equation. So he's got his next 3 years till that falls off. Will have to account for that speeder. So I'm telling you, they're looking at that. So So be cautious of the equipment you're hauling. You're not just going to be able to blame that off to somebody else because you did pull that equipment. And even though that was your you as a company driver, let's say, and now you become an owner operator, that behavior is the same. So now this company is going to actually ask you like, yeah, all right, but your habits are the same. So just because it wasn't your truck, you still drove that truck illegally. What's to say now that it's your truck and it's ultimately your decision? All of a sudden, you're going to make different decisions. Because at the end of the day, man, any company driver out there understands in this business there's high turnover. Man, like if you have a clean record, clean CSA, like put this in the comments if you think I'm wrong. Like anybody that has a good record, if they told you, hey man, I don't care, run the truck the way it is, and it's 8 in the morning, and they're like, take it or you're fired, my man, you would have a job by the end of the day. All you got to do is go and apply, like hands down, if you have that clean record and all that. So let's just be honest. Like you wanted to some degree, you wanted to. So you got to be accountable for that. Um, the DOT officer was a jerk. Just being a jerk. How do I get that removed? Again, the only way to get something removed, guys, is that EQ. If the violation was baseless, you got to provide court documents, receipts, repairs, take pictures. You got to start building your case from that moment, right? It's not like you're just gonna sit there and do nothing and then expect your safety officer to just like but make that shit go away. It's not gonna work like that. If you truly know that something's not right, take pictures. Take pictures on the spot with the guy. Like, which tire is it that you think is the problem? This one? Okay. Start taking pictures and building your case there. So if you're gonna take this to the fight, you got to come with some. You got to come with some resources. You can't just say, hey, he said this and I feel this and all that. Man, nobody's gonna listen to that. They may listen, but no one's gonna do anything about that. And you're gonna be stuck in that position. And so, guys, make sure that you're doing that. Uh, Again, what if you do a CSA dispute? All right, so even if you're doing disputes, they're not guaranteed. Again, you got to have you got to have all the information in front of you, and you got to go fight. Um, I wasn't even driving when that happened. I was in the sleeper. All right, so even for that, guys, I have seen firsthand where let's just say for argument's sake, I'm driving, so I get a citation for whatever it is, man. Cracked windshield, anything, doesn't matter. The violation for my co-driver, it won't be his violation, but it does pop on his PSP, and on his PSP, it'll say the same violation, but does not apply to this driver. It was the co-driver, so it is on record as for my co-driver as well, but it's going to be on under my name. So there you go, and that's going to be for the next 3 years. So just keeping that. So if you're running teams, you have to understand that as well. Um, my logs were off because the ELD wasn't working right. Why is that my fault? Because you could have stopped. You could have called someone. You could have made you could have made adjustments, right? It's still the driver. It's still the driver's responsibility to report, document ELD malfunctions. I'm sure your company has a policy for that. I know we do, and you just want to follow that protocol because sometimes, yeah, man, that stuff may be real. And actually, talking about this one, I know I mentioned them before, Miguel. Uh, we had a hours of service violation. It was due to we operate with motive. There was a tech issue on that. We did get the citation. It didn't matter what we showed the guy, on the roadside. He did not care. He said, "That's great. Here's your violation. See you in court if you feel that strong about it." So we did that, accue that. We did have to present our case, man. It was kind of like it was those situations where, man, it's like you're going to court, right? So we had to print up some information off of motive. Boom. We had to actually call their customer service line. We had to get some additional details to that. We had to get our ticket number from them. Everything that we had to do in order to make this go away. presented nice in a packet, submitted it, boom, and we actually got it actually went away. But again, it took due diligence. It takes some work. So you're gonna have to be honest with your safety managers and help them help you to make this stuff go away. So not all the time is it correct, guys. Shit does happen. So you want to make sure you pay attention and don't just shrug it off, hoping that it'll go away. Man, get that off of there. You do not want that on your record. You want to make sure that it goes away. All right, another question by Mike Valdez. How about inspections, violations, and the truck is not yours? CSA points stay on your record. Yeah. So remember, Mike, CSA points are going to be for the carrier. So anybody running under that flag or that DOT number is contributing to that big CSA number for that company, right? PSP is your personal record. So your personal record is the violations that you're causing. So you're gonna have, let's say whatever happened to you, my friend, just I don't know. Let's say you had foreign manner on your hours of service or something. Those violations are on your record. So it's going to be on your record 3 years, and it goes to that CSA as well. So the carrier will have it as well. So you both are actually getting the violations. Doesn't matter who owns the truck. Everybody getting it. All right. So pay attention to that. Okay. Um, and again, hey man, this is the time. The company told me to run illegal. That shouldn't be mine, guys. It don't work like that. It does not work like that. At the end of the day, you had a choice, and you just got to be accountable for your choices. Welcome to freedom. That is true freedom, right? So you want to mess around. There you go, man. No, fuck around and find out. And now and now you got a problem. Again, like if that company is doing all of that, that's a red flag, man. You really want to get out of there because what's going to happen is you're probably doing it to protect your job. You're probably doing it because you're coming from a place of need. You're probably doing it because there's bills and you need to make money. But you keep doing it enough, you're going to reach that threshold a lot sooner than you think. And what's going to happen is you no longer will have this as an option because you now no longer are marketable. And so the good companies that were willing to take you, but you just never made the decision to make a move, now will no longer take you. And now you're only going to have access to like-minded companies that do stuff like that. And so you're going from bad to worse, and you don't even have an option anymore. So now that you have an option, look for that different opportunity. That company's not going to change. They're just going to ask you to do more shit. But what's going to happen is once your PSP is all torn up, they're not going to be there to help you. The rates ain't going to go up for you. They're not giving you a newer truck, and you're going to be in a world of hurt. Guys, I have seen this in the past. And again, why are you blaming the company when you have an option to bounce? You can get out of there. So remember, while you're marketable, that's the chance that you can dictate some of this stuff, right? You have choices, but you don't want to put yourself in a corner where you no longer have choices, and then you're shocked. So don't be doing any of that. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, we just talked about this, but it's here, so I got to read it. Can my PSP make me unemployable? Not automatically, but repeat violations, out of service orders or crashes. Yep, for sure. The companies are going to think twice. So the key here is to think about what's happening and what your record looks like. You got to be able to step away a little bit and don't make any excuses about it. You have to be able to look at it like a mirror, right? Like, why is this like this, and how does this look to other people? Because then you can start making changes and start fixing it, right? Other than that, if you just think like, if you just make an excuse for it, you're still in that predicament. And usually what happens, man, I don't know why, but I have seen this where, like, let's say a guy gets 10 violations in March. Man, I've seen that. So boom, 10 violations. man, I don't know if it puts the dude in a certain mind frame, and I don't know if now the DOT actually saw that and because it was so fresh, like the very next month, bam, homie gets hit again with like, granted the 8 violations that were on the second one, uh, a lot of them are the same as the first, and then I think that just tells that officer like, I mean, I know exactly what time it is with this guy. He had an opportunity to fix all these things. It's still not done. Welcome to pain, and he's gonna light you up again. And now all of a sudden, it changed so dramatically. Your clean PSP went from clean to like, man, people are going to ask you a lot of questions. Some people would deny you in just 2 months. But again, like, I'm asking you to look at the violations and read them and go one by one. So if I was that officer on the second stop and I'm looking at your first stop and you were put out of service because of no reflector tapes on the back of the truck that were clear, and you still don't have those reflector tape, like, automatically I know you don't give a shit. So automatically, man, I'm looking because there's more here. I just got to find it. And these guys are going to find whatever. So I'm not saying that that's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, guys, you got to understand how they're going to think so that you can calculate your next move and not become a victim to that, right? So everybody's entitled to mistakes. That's not what, we're not saying nobody should have mistakes, but guys, they are looking at this. Please pay attention. You don't want to be able not be able to get a job because of something like this. uh, do I get to see what's on it before the company does? Yeah, 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 for sure. So if you are thinking of jumping ship and making a change, becoming an owner operator, first time owner operator, if that is your choice, you got to give me a call. 863-342-5171. There are plenty of tools here to make you successful. So remember, one of the biggest decisions you have to make is linking up with the right people. And I believe we got what it takes, and my team can actually help you out. So 863-342-5171. But yes, you can actually view your PSP for the low value of $10. And for $10, you go to their website, download your information, and now you can see what's going on. As a matter of fact, or even the company that you're going to hire on with, if you got denied, ask them for a copy. I know I give them out all the time. And I'll get some resistance. I'm not going to lie, my people. Some people say, nah, man, it was this and that happened because of A, B, and C, and it wasn't me. And they said it's all good. Well, my answer is real easy, man. Cool, not a problem. Just let them go, let them know, remind them of your conversation with them, have them take it off really quick and come right back. And man, I'll keep the chair warm. And the chances are they're not going to be able to remove it because it doesn't work like that, right? So you guys have to understand that, like, if it worked the way if it worked the way the guy was telling me, it wouldn't be on there. So I can only go by what's on that document. Same thing for MVRs, guys. Anything that's on that abstract, it's there regardless of the story behind it. You have to view things that way. So just explaining what you think should have happened or transpired is not going to be enough. You have to take the appropriate steps in order to get that off your record, and make sure you do a real good job of that because it is your livelihood, remember. All right. So yep, make sure you're watching that, and again, you never know with identity theft and all that stuff going on nowadays. Yeah, I would pull. It's $10, man. Write it off. Like, pull your record every quarter, maybe, or every 6 months, something like that. Just get a view on it, and then you're good. There might be mistakes. There's everybody's human. Deal with that. Nobody's perfect. So you want to catch things early. All right. Uh, can I get a lawyer to clean up my PSP? Mm, um, Lawyers are going to help challenge citations. Um, and then, but only FMCSA is going to update the PSP. So I've had people tell me in the past, uh, you know, so even if the court dismisses that case, you still have to go submit the proof to to DOT. So they can, but not directly. So it's a little tricky. So here's how it works. I have seen people drop a boatload of money, um, and let's say he had a speeding ticket, And in his mind, man, he has the best lawyer in town, right? And in his mind, um, the speeding ticket went away, but all he did was take points away, and then he thinks he's winning. DOT is doing absolutely nothing with that because the violation is there. The points don't matter. I don't give a shit about that. Like, the violation is there, so it stays. And now he dropped a boatload of money, and all that lawyer really did was make the points go away because he probably sold you on the fact that the points are what carriers are going to be looking at. It's not necessarily true. Points may be for like your personal car, like Geico and all that, and your premium gets affected. So the points isn't necessarily it, right? It's what's the violation. So imagine you have that violation there, no points, but you got a speeder along with a warning speeder on your PSP. Now you got two speeders. That's what the carrier is looking at. So, and just because you got a lawyer did not make it go away. So you have to have a clear understanding. What is the guy going to fight for? What is the intent? I would even let the carrier know, hey, I'm getting a lawyer. Can you recommend someone, please? Because I want to make sure that whatever happens, I could take that data queue that and then give it to you guys to data queue so it gets taken off of our records. So I would plan accordingly. The great place to start would be again your safety guy or girl, and have them give you some numbers to some lawyers who know how to get that done. All right, so you want to definitely make sure that happens. And usually, if the lawyer wins, technically, let's say, I'm making it up here, but let's say he took that speeder and changed it to an improper lane change or something like that. Now you can take that and data queue that and say, hey, this no longer was a speeder, Mr. DOT. Per this court, they found me guilty of improper lane change. So now that will change from that speeder to the improper lane change. I do believe it would say on there that it was changed, but nevertheless, it'll show it up. All right. Sorry, guys, I have a little technical difficulty here. All right, so we're back. So actually running up on time. So I want to say thank you to all my people for showing up. Please leave us comments below. What are good topics? What can we bring to the table to increase the value of this program for you? That's what this is about, putting good information in front of good people. And remember, if you are a first-time owner-operator or an owner-operator looking for a better opportunity, we have what it takes. So you definitely got to come check us out. It is 863-342-5171. And we will see you soon. All right, guys. All right. Be safe, drive safe. Give it a few minutes. Are there any kind of questions that anyone may have? Yeah, and so there you go, guys. Like everything gets connected. Like that's the crazy part about this industry. It's you can slice and dice being an owner operator, leasing on to companies, and sometimes it's amazing how one cause and effect in this business. That's really what it is. And so I just want to take that moment out to say, remember, guys, like all our owner operators who are leased under us, man, we're one team because at the end of the day, we're all accountable and responsible for the same. So we're definitely in the fight together. It's not me against you. It is how do we keep both our businesses healthy? How do we keep both our businesses thriving and available to do business every day in a safe and effective way? So that's what this is all about. All right, my people, that's my time for today. Please share, like, subscribe. Make sure after 5 o'clock every day, Monday to Friday, catch the video from Super Trucker Podcast. Plenty of info just like this on there. All right, my people, be good, drive safe, and be safe.